Okay, and welcome back to the final installment of this review. So, here we have a Komodo Nano kit. This one is a false bottom one. So, it's a false bottom setup for scorpions that need a false bottom setup. Now, I have filmed some footage of me making this enclosure, so I'm just going to roll that footage straight away, and then we're going to elaborate a bit on how this all works in these habitats. So, there we go. That is our little nano habitat. There's the lid. It's made out of a nice metal mesh. Got all its packaging. Alright, you might need to take all this bubble wrap off the sides as well. And I'm being super careful when taking all this off, because you don't want to scratch the glass. Alrighty, so in this kit you'll get some Schwaner, Coca fiber, a pipe, PVC pipe, some mesh. Now, this is a false bottom setup. This is what we're going to be doing, a false bottom setup for one of our new scorpions. Urodacus Kenkoi, or the desert scorpion. This is his tail. So, without further ado, let me show you how to properly do a false bottom setup, because a common misconception with these desert scorpions, unfortunately, is a lot of people don't know how to look after them properly, and they are very sensitive. Like, they are super sensitive to how you look after them. But if you use a false bottom setup in one of these nano kits, it's perfectly fine. You shouldn't have any trouble with them at all. So, to begin with, what we're going to do is put a layer of our Schwaner on the bottom of the enclosure. Go. Smooth it out a bit. So that's the Schwaner. Now on top of that, we're creating a drainage layer basically. We're going to add our mesh. Alrighty. So this is our layer of mesh. I might actually just chop it a little bit more. So it fits a little bit better. Because I don't want a heap of overlap. Alrighty. Still a little bit of overlap, so I'm going to cut a little bit off the side too. Alrighty, so here we go. So the idea of this really is to put a pipe like this on the side, and when you put water in it, you know, the water disperses down here, the moisture comes up, and it basically keeps the same moisture levels of the sand as what it would be in the wild. That's the main goal of having a false bottom setup, is to replicate exactly how burrowing species of scorpion like Yskhenfoi live. Now, a common name for this one is a spiral burrow, because in the wild they create 1 to 2 meter deep spiral burrows. Now obviously we can't really replicate this here, you know, have a 1 meter deep enclosure. It's a bit unethical and very hard to do. So having small setups like these is a lot easier, a lot more affordable, and a lot more smaller, so you can fit it into your everyday household. Okay, so just smoothing the sand out a bit. Like so. Another element to this is slightly moistened desert sand. I've got the desert sand and I've moistened it up, or hydrated it a bit. So now we're just going to be adding the sand. Alright, so there's all of our sand. Now we're just going to compact it down a bit. So this is our nano habitat, and you can choose, you can customize the top with whatever decorations you like. So bark, some reeds, some straw. So I've gone out and I've got myself some pieces of bark I'm going to put in. Put this one just like that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that footage, and now let's elaborate on how this works. So, as you probably saw, I put a layer of rocks at the bottom. It's a scorer rock. It's the volcanic rock that is very porous and accepts a lot of water. So on top of that I put a layer of mesh. Now the mesh that I got with my kit was just a little bit too long for my liking, so I just trimmed it down to size. Now when you're doing this, be very careful not to trim it too far back if it is too long. Okay, just please don't trim it too far back or you're gonna mess up the whole setup. So just leave it so it's got a little bit of overlap over the rocks. That's all you want. So I also, on top of that, have a layer of cocoa fiber, and then a big layer of red desert sand. Now, before I put the cocoa fiber and sand on, I placed this PVC pipe that came with the kit down the back end of my enclosure, one of the sides of the back end of my enclosure. Now, the way this works is you're trying to replicate how it is for them in the wild. So when you put water in here, it flows all the way to the bottom to where the rocks are, and then what you do is when it starts to heat up a little bit, the water evaporates and the moisture content of the soil is given in certain levels. So the closer the soil is to the base, the more water it has in it. So the more you get to the top, the more drier it is, and the more you go down, the more wetter it is. Now for these scorpions, that's key because they are pretty fiddly and pretty hard to look after. So if you have a false bottom setup that exactly replicates how it is for them in the wild, it's perfect. That's exactly what you want. And you're guaranteed to keep these guys alive for quite a while. So, if your scorpion does die, then it is because you've either not set it up correctly, or you've done something wrong, because this setup is perfect and it's been designed specifically to house this kind of scorpion. That's the whole purpose of this setup, is just to house this kind of scorpion. Now, wonderful people at Bug Frenzy have sent me one of these scorpions, and I put him in his new enclosure last night, and I came back this morning and he's constructed a burrow, starts on this side of the enclosure and spirals round into the middle. So unfortunately I can't show you him right now. So I hope you enjoyed the footage. That was the red desert scorpion, scientific name Urodacus yiskinkoi. You can find them on Bug Frenzy's website as well for $44. Now in this enclosure I've just added a bit of bark. You don't need to add bark to this enclosure. I just added it for decoration, really. The other thing this enclosure comes with is a metal mesh lid. It's a metal fly screen, I'm pretty sure, and it's got a clip lock at the front, so when you slide it in like so, it locks in. You can't remove the lid, it's firm in place. So this enclosure and this setup is great. It is perfect for this kind of scorpion, and you could use it for just about any other thing that they sell on their website. These Komodo Nano enclosures are really, really awesome. They are very great enclosures. The only thing to watch out for is when Australia Post, when they ship these out via Australia Post, even though they put in a lot of protective measures to try and keep these enclosures protected, sometimes they do get smashed up a bit. That is the unfortunate part with these guys. They are glass, so they can get smashed up in the mail. That is very unfortunate, though luckily my one seemed to get here all fine in one piece. So that is just one thing to watch out for when ordering these enclosures. Just be mindful that they could turn up with cracks in them, and it's not a fault on Bug Frenzy's part. It's a fault on Australia Post part. When shipping your parcel, they need to be a little bit more careful of when handling them. So without further ado, this is our final review for tonight. I just want to thank all of you for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to Bug Frenzy. I also ask that if you have any questions, you just put them in the comments down below. Just feel free to ask Bug Frenzy about any things that you don't understand about this video. And I just ask that you all have a blessed and beautiful day. I'd just like to once again thank Bug Frenzy who supplied all this stuff for me to review for you guys today. It's been a real honor to be able to do this for you guys. So thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed week, blessed day. I'll see you hopefully in the next review. Bye bye.